Damn.
Colin, what's up?
Finally, we meet. It's been a long time.
We have
This is
met. Yes.
yes, yes, yes. You're a hard man. You're a hard man to get your agent to agree to.
Well, have your assistant bot talk to my assistant bot.
No, I can see you're a very practical man. So no offense taken. Um, and so yeah, I would like to push some ideas and get some feedback. Um, but I'll give you the opportunity to frame this because you're much better at this than I am. So you may know what I'm going to ask before I ask it. I don't know.
Maybe, maybe not. Uh, I know that I expressed some interest in visual idea manipulation in one or two calls ago. And I know that mind mapping is a subset of that. For me, it's a subset of that. One of the reasons I don't use the word mind map and I don't use the term or tool mind map is that mind map almost immediately assumes a root node or a anchoring node. And to me, really free form idea manipulation requires uh, that there not be a root node. So I like mapping tools that don't require that. That's one possible idea. Another possible idea is this notion that there's some meta considerations around decision-making processes that to me are more interesting than the actual process themselves. One of the meta considerations is really, when people propose a process, what's really in their mind that they're really trying to achieve? What are they trying to optimize? And people think optimization, that seems like such a dry word, but everybody's trying to optimize something, whether it's love or, feeling good or sugar or
Yeah.
equality or fairness, you know what I'm talking about, right? So unless we're transparent about that, we're always going to be arguing so long as those things are not transparent.
Yeah.
So those are a couple ways to frame it. I'm not sure which one you're leaning towards or whether it's a completely different one.
No, you hit the nail on the head. Just it's good to get your impression. I'm into all the same stuff. You probably might have missed the part where I said that you were also channeling me, and then I said who else? It was Doug. Like, in fact, I said something and I said, who said that? And I said, oh, that was Sam. I said, so I guess Sam's not only channeling through Doug, he's channeling through me too. So you got a double credits today, which is pretty good. I also gave Heiner some credits to reach out at the end of the Zoom calls. I think he's very practical. I think Neil Davidson also brings a seriousness of immediacy, where I'm starting to see. It's very interesting. I feel quite fortunate to have invested all of this time, but I know that it's not going to be forever, because I feel like you too. I have to have a job unless someone's going to fund me to do this full time. Unless I can find a way to put on a stage show and collect money, which I'm thinking about, believe it or not. But I think practically speaking, anything I do, I have to have a safety net. So the safety net for me is a real job, right? And then if I have that real job, then I can even put more of my self into my hobby. So that's where I'm getting to. Josh has spent a fair bit of time speaking with me, and just recently he gave me the Sam speech. So he must think I'm getting close to ready. By Sam's speech, I mean that, and Anna too. I've talked a lot with Anna and some other people. Don't take offense to my words and call me on anything you don't understand. The Sam speech is, or the Sam's view, I should say, of what it is to be ready. So it's all about being ready. Everybody's wondering, are you ready to commit to share some ideas with me in a serious way that, you're not fooling around. So, Josh said something I didn't ask him about whether you were ready or not. I think he said, Sam's still trying to find if he's ready or he has it, but I missed all those deep dives. And I wanted to ask in there. Sam has probably already laid out a lot of his proposals in the deep dive, I'm thinking. who here can explain what it was that Sam's proposing, right? And that's how I feel with my maps. That's how Neil felt with his work. And you can't do that to Josh because he's got too much into this, and we're actually using it. So Josh actually has his plugged in and it's running, and it's nothing more than a container, a beautiful one, but it's just a container. And my Coggle maps to you are suspiciously route oriented, and to me it's just crayons. It's just crayons. In fact, if Coggle is anything to me seriously, it's the API in the back end that I might be able to program into someday. It's not being a note taker for the GCC. That's just what I do. That's my pen and paper. That's all. As you use it for the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to get anything out of a tool that's not there, really. And it's funny to see how people see different things, and it's really just meant to be a mirror of what's going on, and also something that Harry can make look more beautiful, so that it could be absorbed more. And I'm considering it now a flower on a stem, and the stem is you and William, and the roots are databases, AI, whatever. Who knows, Lang, whatever. William doesn't have time for my flower, but he appreciates that I'm doing it, and he'll interface with me, but he doesn't want to help me plant the flowers and wait for bees. And so the analogy is that he has, you probably know about William's stuff, eh?
Yeah, he and I have spoken a few times, yes.
Okay, well, it really appeals to me as a developer because he has it wrapped in a syntax that can be absorbed. It's very malleable. There may be 20 out there already made. Like, there's some protocol freaks out there that might be able to hand me some. But really, I want something that's just what I need and nothing more, because it's an experiment. And if somebody comes along during my experiment with something better, all the better. But I'm trying, and the joke is, it's so simple. It's like, this awareness thing is so simple. It's not a big thing. It's how do we speak of the same language, and how do we have maturity to realize that there's better ways to say these things, and we're wasting time, because that's one of my tenets, is to speak less and say more, because it's a weakness of mine to speak, map, and said nothing. Do it again tomorrow. It's like, how frustrating is it to waste your word? So that's okay if it's just between friends, but if it's serious games, then I think Heiner mentioned that we got to respect each other's time better. So if somebody wants to have a what I would call an Anna session, where they're trying to feel themselves some connection. Anna wants connection, and it's not a good show unless she comes away feeling connection. So I put her through the William thing today. We had a couple hour discussion, because Anna's my she's my worst case scenario to put through the filter. And the one that, if it can happen, is the best to prove that it can happen. After that, it's downhill, right? So I've talked with Lucy, because I'm working with a little bit with Dave and Michael Jewesowitz, and just little things, just trying to touch and offer and reach. And so people, I'm interfacing with people, and so Lucy says, I tried one last Monday, and a Zoom meeting. So I held a Zoom meeting, my first one, and it was called, I used Anna's words, who wants to, what needs to be done, and who wants to play collaboration. Because it started out what Joshua had written. I didn't tell her it was Josh's words. I just let her criticize me. I'll take a hit for Josh, because I asked him to do it. But he says, what are the roles, and let's get busy. Projects. And like that, Anna's quills just go right up as soon as you say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I read her comment, and it says, really what we need is to, have this transparent leadership, and, define what needs to be done and how we're going to do it. So I said, define what we need to do, and do you want to play? So that's my friend. And made it random so that anybody can interrupt, anything goes, not recorded. And really, it's all an experiment for me and William to put people through the meat grinder. In my mind, in his mind, it might be something different. In his mind, he's fed up, probably. I don't know, because people should be ready. Why are we wasting our time? I got stuff to do. It's like, if these people can't see what I have to offer, or Neil Davison or all the rest of them, and I'm saying, well, hell, wait now. I came here. I have engineering skills, software development skills, but I came here with my weaknesses exposed first. I didn't even really want to offer anything, but I'm so interested in the community. I need community, but typically that's not how I would go about getting it. And after reaching the age that I'm at, I know I'm doing something wrong. And so when I find quality, I said, you know what, I'm gonna give 2 pills and call them in the morning, see how this works. So two doses of Anna. The second call was you and the problem you had, and like, wow, what a challenge for me. And I had a couple of days of deep emotional wealth because of that, because I have my own things. And explaining to you how I could relate to you actually woke them all up. So that was interesting, but I've dealt with them, and that's another conversation. So I know your time is valuable. I would like to make a proposal, but I'll give you a chance to feedback on that big dump I just gave you. And thank you for listening. You're a pro.
So what about the conversation you and I had earlier made such an impact? What was it about that conversation?
It wasn't, I don't think you made that big of an impact on me in any one moment. It's just the gravity of the situation has come to the fore. In the previous conversation, you said that I'm sorry I had to leave for 30 minutes because I have a job. And like, it's sort of like, can anybody hear how this works around here? Like you're all thinking we're going to all get in the same bus and we're all going to the same road trip and we're going to get there. We're all going to put 25 cents in and it's all going to be fixed. It's like, I know it's not that, but I'm just being very sarcastic about it. But what I'm saying is there's things I don't see other people are doing. Some people are in a state of being ready. Some people are aware. Some people aren't aware. Different kinds of spiritualities. It's all over the map. But I see this commonality and I see this beauty of kindness and seriousness. And I see a reason to try to sort this out. And I even have a personal experience that festers this topic so that I'm geared towards it. And that's my fundamentalist friend, trying to be friends with a fundamentalist. Like, how the hell do you do that? It's very interesting. And the fact is, he looks up to me like a big brother. So I can get away with a lot of thought experiments, and he's not very clever, but he's really good-hearted. But he's mean, he's bitter, and you cannot have a conversation with him. Not possible. The kinder you try to lay it out, not a conversation that has any seriousness to it, or any ask, or any vulnerability. You can joke and talk and make fun and go on for hours, but as soon as you turn it into let's do something, or a Sam moment, it just goes right to shit. And so I've been getting clearer and clearer how to express what it is I want to gift him and what is in it for him, the 1,000 million options that he can generate himself once the door opens, once he's aware that it is what you make it, and look around and be real. And so, upbringing, thrownness, religion, familiarity, there's all kinds of hurdles. So I said, well, why don't you come into a meeting with me and William? I said, let William tell you what I'm trying to say, because I'm using his words now, because he's categorized in a simple way all I need to say. In fact, if you're ready, Troy, it should take us about 5 minutes to get to the heart of the matter. And how long have we been talking about this, Troy? You said 3 years. I think it's like 5 or 8 years we've been talking about it. So so I'm going to put Anna through the Troy box with William. And I'd also like to do the same thing with your stuff and anybody else's stuff that makes sense. Anything else, serious, because the meta shouldn't change your message. It should just clarify it or not. Or it should change the filter that it went through to allow stuff like yours through it. So I'd like to work with you in a non-contrived way to try to fit your ideas through the William filter that he doesn't have time to bother with. And it has, so yeah.
Okay, so that's an interesting statement to me. I think I would be curious to take several steps along that path and see how far we go. Because, yeah, I've had a couple of conversations with William, but we've not really tried to mesh or complement and try to co-create yet. But if you're able to do that as a William proxy, yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of my questions has been, what drives you to give Troy this gift?
Because the same reason a Christian would try to save you. I want to be real, and I want to offer you everything I can. I want to offer you the truth. I don't want to be like your sister, Troy, and just say everything's going to be all right, don't worry about it, because he's quite sick. Yeah, he's got MS and Lyme disease, and he's pretty well housebound, and he can get up and down, but if I make him laugh too hard, that's the end of the phone call for a while because he loses constant. But I'm not going to pity him. I'm not going to give him that pain. And yeah, I've always treated him like my younger brother. So I'll cuff him, and we hang up the phone on each other. In fact, the first time we just had a falling out because he was disrespecting me so much that, and my respect for myself is growing in such a way that this is too toxic. I'm done. Right? So he tried to call me. I got a new phone and I answered it by a mistake. And I go, "Who's this?" And he goes, "It's Troy." I go, "Oh, what are you doing?" He says, "Well," I said, "Well, I probably wouldn't have answered if I wouldn't have had the new phone, but that's not really the point." I said, to me, nothing changed. Like, it's just, I had to break the ice. I wasn't angry at him. I was just letting him know that you failed the SAM test, right? You're not ready. And in fact, you not only failed the SAM test, you violated the doing your greatest good commandment. And you're actually trying to burn me down in front of other people. And I hung up the phone when you gave me an example of doing just that. And I was willing to harbor the suspicions that you might talk about me behind my back. And I know what kind of a person you are, so that's the risk I take. But I can't support the fact that I know that you're bad-mouthing me. And I've been trying hard to defend myself and my ideas, and I'm tired of it because I shouldn't have to defend them anymore. And so when we started talking again, I said, "You know what? You know how I know religion is not an issue?" I said, "Because if you were really a fundamentalist, you'd be trying to fucking kill me and you wouldn't have anything to do with me." And I said, "And if I was really an atheist that had no patience for you, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. So it doesn't matter. Just get over it." You know what I mean? But how do we actually have a conversation? It's crazy. So when I told him that I'll take you through the proposal method, he couldn't understand the difference between a proposal and an issue, or a proposal and a topic. I said, "That's not a proposal, that's a topic." And so I'll just leave it there. But as you can see, that pathway of finding William's words to clarify my desire to get through a 5-minute conversation, and my impedance mismatch, the word I'm using, that's an electrical engineering term, but just people that don't fit. How do you make an adapter so Anna can fit into me? And I can plug into Anna. And we don't need any middle ground or any lawyer.
Yeah, to me, that's another interesting topic, because one of my very earliest lessons in what I call collaborology is it's not necessary to collaborate with everyone.
Yes.
It's a big mistake to think you have to collaborate with everyone.
Yes.
Life is limited, you know,
Yeah.
and energies can be wasted. And in that respect, you know, I might be channeling Neil Davidson at some point, you know, because Neil chooses sometimes not to collaborate with people that he doesn't feel are ready. For me, it's not whether someone is ready or not. For me, it's whether or not I feel that collaboration is actually progressing in some significant or effective way. So when someone says, "Is Sam ready?" or "Is Sam not ready?" that's their way of, you know, reacting, perhaps. But yeah, let's try this William proxy collaboration, and let's see how it goes. What's the first step you would propose?
Okay. Well, I would propose you find out how you fit in. So this is what I'm planning on doing. It's all up in the air. So I told Lucy that I don't want to host any Zoom calls, and neither does William. And so I said, and since you're offering your Zoom account, because mine timed out, because it's not a pro one, I said, why don't you host it, Lucy? Because, you know, that is the idea. When people are doing work, they can't be hosting the show. So, so I want William to be the one to actually ask the question. I'm the proxy to make it happen. So and the only way I can get William interested is if I tell him I'm not trying to do this with everybody, like you just said. I'm looking for 5 use cases to put through the system, or so, whatever. And the idea is that they're examples of actual end-to-end. And I think we talked about that today, right? If you got to handle a text there, go right ahead.
No, there's just different notifications are coming up.
Okay, well, I'll keep it short. So I'm proposing that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we get lined up with Lucy comfortable hosting the show. Me and William go through a couple of dry runs with ourselves, and you could be included in that as well, on the inside, basically, of the development. And then we get our ducks in a row, and we try to put Anna through the process within 5 to 10 minutes. Now, this is why it's so interesting. I talked to Anna for 2 hours, and she says, well, so I started to do the William tour, and I said, so what's your proposal? She says, well, I don't have one. So I explained, well, this is the way it works, Anna. It's a clean white room. You walk in, there's a coat rack, and there's a table. You come in and you put your coat on the rack, and on the coat is your topic. Okay? So you put your topic there, and then you come in and you put your proposal in the box on the table. And everybody does that and comes in and sits down. And she says, well, I don't have a proposal. I said, well, then you're God. Or no, she says, well, maybe, so she said her thing was to feel connected. And I said, well, you have to have a verb. I said, that's kind of a topic. Okay, well, I suppose to feel is a verb. I said, okay, well, you just broke it. You became the first topic and proposal. That's the same thing. But I'm sure if William was here, he could sort this out for us. But let's just pretend you broke it. You get to be meta. So you get to have a seat in this conversation without having a real proposal or a real separate topic. It's the same thing somehow. I don't know how you've done that. I said, all I can figure out is you must be God. Right? I said, these are your commandments. You're overseeing the whole thing. Like you don't need a reason to be here. You're just God, right? Stir as you may. And she didn't like that idea. But the point of the matter is we did get a bond out of it. And I am solid in my viewpoint. She's solid in her viewpoint, and we both are headed in the same direction. And I think she has blindnesses. I think she has blindness. She thinks I have blindnesses. It's all perfect. Go through this system. And what I propose, what I suspect, is that there's 2 GCCs, the yin and the yang, and you just got to know which cab to get into to have a good ride. And then there's the real world in behind it all that's actually doing stuff. So people like me and William and whatever, they may or may not come to the meeting because they're not looking for connection. connection. They're not looking for community. They expect connection, they expect community, but they're not looking for it, right? Where Anna says, that's all I'm looking for. And it's a conflict, and she's going to have to shit or get off the pot why it's so important, right? And maybe I'm just an atheist. I don't have any appreciation for it, but I'm about to be schooled because this should be a fair game, us going through it. It's not a competition.
I might have missed a piece here. In other words, let's say it's Anna, William, myself, Lucy, you, right? So Lucy's taking the host role. You're taking a kind of a intermediary kind of role. But what's Anna's and William's and my motivation to enter that white room? What's the call to action?
The call to action is this. Whether you're involved or not is your choice based on what you see us doing and feeling that you can contribute to it and actually enhance it, or vice versa. I think there's a strengthening that's going to happen with defining your terms between us at a meta level, so that we could put people's proposals through this very quickly. And if it's a decision-making proposal, it might be decision proposal A for this type of contact. Need money for a tool in the GCC, and another context for something else. And so I think if we go through a couple of dry runs of this thing, we'll see the different kinds of proposals, and then we'll know what kind of people we want to put through it, so that when somebody else like Anna comes, Anna can go over to them and say, oh, well, you think you don't have a proposal, but look at this. And they'll say, man, that's awesome. That's exactly how I feel. That is a mirror looking at me. Or I like that, but I wouldn't do this. But the point is they're off to the race, not wondering, oh, I don't have a proposal, and why don't you say how you feel, Sam? Like, it's not going anywhere. So I don't want to be in buying tickets for a comedy show and end up in the theater and people saying you're laughing too loud. I don't want to bring my crayons and somebody tell me I'm not good at drawing Picasso. Right?
Okay.
So with the mind maps, some people who don't see me as a developer and a tool builder interfacing with William might think that I'm just here as a note taker. When that's probably, and my maps are completely messy, incomplete, and only as valid as get validated by the people who I'm working on. I am not a reporter for anybody. I'm nobody's agent, but I am showing a lot of mess, a lot of mess. So I think that's the reflection, right? And the map isn't meant to ever be perfect, but what I would vision with the maps are these little gardens where people can do their thing, whether they do it themselves, or maybe if we had a reason to do it collectively in the map, sure. But I think the map has a limited lifespan, especially since who's going to maintain it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the little WordPress blogs that we make and the collaborations that we do, now that's the goal, right? And the connection that Anna's talking about. But I just don't want collaboration for collaboration's sake. I don't want connection for connection's sake. I want collaboration and connection because we have a joint purpose. I think Joesifit says it. You have something that might help me. I have something that might help you. We have a common interest. What can we do together to help each other? Pretty much that simple. And anybody that's trying to fit or hit every nail with the sledgehammer is going to get found out when they go through my ready loop. Oh, so use a sledgehammer for that too. Okay. And if they go through the 3 Ys, I call it Y cubed. I think it's infinite Y with William. If you give a proposal at an incident and you don't know, it's not clear, then they'll say why, because you might be looking for something that's actually right close at hand. You just don't know. So there's a lot of that. And I think that's what you're trying to vet out. Are you clear? So when I say, are you ready? Maybe to you, that means, are you clear? Are you clear enough that I can understand what you're talking about? Maybe that's what I'm saying. Who's ready for life? I don't know. But are you clear about what you're trying to say? And that's what I'm after, clarity. And I think everybody's after that.
Not everybody.
Everybody that matters. Some things are left linger, but that's love and that kind of stuff. And there's a place for that, but not while I'm trying to jumpstart the car, right?
Okay. All right.
Tell me later.
When would you like to have this event?
Well, I'm taking Mondays. William's not committed, but we already did one, and it went 4 or 5 hours. I ended up going through 5 calls, and Josh came in, and we split off with Klaus Mager into Josh's room, and I mapped out Klaus Mager and met him. And he seems more interested. His main message was, is we're leaderless and we're going nowheres without one. And it doesn't have to be a leader, but we need leadership. And also Glenn's point about being fragmented, that was another thing. And he's an eco-warrior, and he's really cool. And I put a post up about it. But I'm thinking that if I would have done this on my WordPress site and signaled to some people, I would have a lot stronger signaling. And I think the signaling is what it's about. So if you're not doing signaling, you're not really playing the game yet. And I waited till I was ready, till I signaled Sam. Right? Because I think that what you have is very valuable, but I don't know if it's in the right language. And maybe you're going to change our language. And our who we are is subjective. So, and then we can use that for decision making. So the time plan is Lucy can't host it next week, so we're going to do another dry run of random. Then the Monday after that, I'm hoping that we'll be together enough to put Anna in the seat. So 2 Mondays from now.
Okay, so my difficulty is I'm on the road. I'm in a stretch where I'm on the road 6 out of 8 weeks. So until November 14th or 15th, I'm actually on the road. The week after that, which I think is November 19th, is the week of Thanksgiving, but I'm actually in my home base that particular Monday. That Monday would work for me, but I don't know if that's too far out for you.
No, it's not, because I have great expectations, but you told me about that, the mother of all disappointments. So no, I'm changing my language. Like everybody I meet, if they have a good enough reason for me to adapt that within the GCC, then I do, because clarity is so important, and it's what I'm after. So if I'm not trying to adapt to it, then I'm just kidding myself. So maybe that would be a bit of and help you understand why I'm doing it. It really is clarity, I think, and all the things I'm learning to do. Like, I don't know if I would be confident enough to propose this to you a month or so ago, right? Like I wouldn't have felt like it was natural, right? But this is feeling natural for some reason. So working with Tammy was natural until we went into the show, and then it was contrived because she just took over and wanted to drive the map and doesn't even have a steering wheel yet. And like Doug says, well, what do you got there? And I would say, well, I got half a map and half a steering wheel. What do you want? But I never got that far, right? So now I got a better idea of what natural collaboration is and what it takes and what needs to be done. And my desire was captured by William and Dave Techsmith with his talking trees over in New Zealand, and Joesifits with the printer net, and the fact that maybe water is more important than mini computers. But so do I have to do both? And now I want to build a crate like the one I saw my buddy Dougie Jamaica build when he moved back to Jamaica. He built this crate, and I felt like I was right there going to Jamaica. Anyway, the whole experience made me feel like he's putting stuff in this, and this is his life. Like, this is how he does it. 2x4, whatever wood, whatever you need to make this dimension and fill it, get it home. And that was kind of powerful to me, because I'm used to, well, let's call the contractors and get the container shipment ready, and let's be at the dock, or these guys were like self-sufficient. And so anyway, to mix stories, that box is kind of stuck in my brain, and I'd like to fill one and get it to Africa with like the Santa Claus load of stuff to one of these places that keep talking about it. And another thing that I feel is going to happen is, once we do get the website situated, that a lot of these foreign people are going to become members, and we're going to have to get out of our third world mindset. And Heiner's already there. I'm kind of halfway there. Michael Dwessett's there, but how many of the other people are out of their first world mindset? So, there's a whole another dissonance coming. And if we don't have this different people filter ready that people are comfortable with, okay, you got me now. You know where I'm coming. So maybe we'll just work on the side, play it by ear,
I'm
and
one of the
I'll keep
few
you
Asians
informed.
in the group, by the way.
What's that?
I'm one of the few Asians, maybe the only Asian in the group, if
Is that
that's not
right?
accurate. And so that's why I specifically recall the remark again about clarity. Asians are notoriously obtuse, and clarity is not high in the list of priorities for Asians typically.
Well, define your clarity. It's all about defining your terms. It's Voltaire. It's all about context.
And
And
that's what
anybody
I
that
think
starts,
to people.
yeah, when everybody starts to go with the all and the voodoo that handles the all, as long as you don't plan on doing any system building with it, great. But as soon as you want to, there's a diagram that, complicated diagram on the chalkboard, and in the middle it says a little cloud and it says a miracle happened, right? Seen that one.
Left to the reader, yes.
Anyway, I won't take any more of your time. I'll
Okay,
leave the floor
so
to you.
I got your format. If it's a Monday, I'm proposing the 19th. I think that's a Monday. But clearly, you're going to be doing a lot between now and then. So I'll track what's going on and try and see if I can get a better understanding of that format.
Yeah, well, you're very busy, so I won't hold you to anything. We'll just play it by ear. I really wanted to reach out and tell you that you're a candidate, and you're also welcome.
Okay. Well, appreciate
Yeah,
that.
and I'm looking at having Lucy be the sweet co-host and run people through the profile generator, like 15, 20 minutes each. That's it. And if you're not ready, then come back next week as per my little game that I wanted to show you. I don't know if you ever got a picture of that or not, but it just puts you in an infinite loop until you're ready, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Or until you're, how do you say, clear. Or for the Asian people amongst us, maybe ready to move a proposal forward.
Or as Anna would
Language.
say, until I'm whole.
I like the completeness thing. It's
Okay.
quite a gift. I mentioned those are the two things that I appreciate from that side of the deck is the seriousness, the raw love, and the completeness
Mm-hmm.
that you're gifted. Listening. It's powerful, expensive, very expensive, but that's where quality comes from. So.
Okay, Colin. Thanks for connecting. Let's see if we can make this happen on the 19th or thereabouts. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just throwing pebbles in the pond, and I'm hoping that they cause the right ripples. So no expectations, but I don't want to come. I don't want you to think I'm coming from the side doing all these weird things, trying to take over stuff. I'm just trying to do my own show with trying to get a little bit of clarity, and maybe build a system with William if it works out.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Very good. Thank you.
Till next time.